Yeah, please. Yeah, the year began with Preble Street making it possible for a 56-bed emergency shelter in Bangor known as Hope House to remain open when we stepped in to assume operations when it was facing closure due to lack of funding. And Preble Street's been doing many, many more things this year. We did pause a couple times to celebrate the 50th anniversary, including with a great event in June, I think it was, with over 500 of our friends coming together to sort of pause and reflect on everything that Preble Street's done over the years. And yet, I think it's fair to say that at no point over the last 50 years has it been more important for Preble Street to advocate so relentlessly on behalf of the people of Maine as they are right now. Combating food insecurity is a collective effort. One organization and one building can't end hunger alone. Partners, staff, food providers like grocery stores and farms, community members, this work takes all of us. I do want to call out one incredibly important group, and that is Preble Street volunteers. Yeah, please. We are standing in the newly dedicated Judy Rosen Bertram Volunteer Center. Judy's here. This is in the center of the building because volunteers are at the center of what we do. Last year, volunteers helped Preble Street serve approximately 1 million meals to Mainers who need them. And just between July and September of this year, more than 500 people volunteered for Preble Street. So, yeah. I'm proud to be one of those volunteers myself. I started volunteering in the old soup kitchen 17 years ago, which was a slightly different facility than this. And I have amazing memories of working there with my kids, with other volunteers, and with the amazing Preble Street staff. So our new 5,000 square foot industrial kitchen will allow Preble Street chefs to use more locally grown produce donated by Maine farmers. You'll see on the tour a walk-in food dehydrator that allows us to preserve fresh fruits and vegetables for soups and other meal preparations. And you'll see a 2,500 square foot freezer. I mean, you could literally drive a truck into this thing. It's going to help us preserve meals so that we're always ready to meet pressing needs. These are just a couple examples, but there's lots more that we're excited for you to see today. So I'm pleased now to introduce our first speaker from an organization that's been a longtime partner of Preble Street's, and one that's critical to helping ensure that meals created here are delivered to people who need them across Maine. Heather Paquette is president of Good Shepherd Food Bank of Maine, and she leads a dedicated team of hunger relief professionals working to address the root causes of hunger by exploring innovative solutions, sourcing nutritious and culturally relevant food, and collaborating with a network of over 600 partners across Maine. I had the privilege of working with Heather when we were both at Hannaford Supermarkets. I learned a ton from you, Heather, and I know Heather as a leader she's a tremendous leader of people. She's a strong and passionate advocate for what's right, and she delivers results. So I couldn't be more thrilled to see her now harnessing those talents toward ending hunger in Maine. Please welcome Heather Paquette.
Good morning. Thank you, Chip. I learned a lot from you as well, and still use those gifts today. So it's a privilege to be here with all of you this morning. It's been a really difficult week for food security work in Maine and throughout the U.S. Yet, despite the fact that it's been a difficult week, when my partner and ally, Mark Swann, asked me to do anything, I cheerfully say yes. So thank you for the invitation to come speak at your opening. He did not mention that I would be speaking between a New York Times best-selling book author and a United States Congresswoman. So good morning, everyone. Here we are. All jokes aside, it is a privilege to be here today, and today is a symbol and a milestone of just a really long journey to get to what is just an incredible example of that root cause of hunger prevention, really innovative thinking, and really tremendous work. And it's an honor to be standing here alongside all of the dedicated partners that made this happen. Today, we're celebrating more than a facility. We're celebrating what's possible when organizations work together with purpose, creativity, and a shared vision. You heard Chip say, our hunger work and our food security work in Maine cannot be done alone, and it's not done alone. It's entirely done through collaboration, inclusion, innovative thinking together, trade-offs and sacrifices, and doing the very best we can with each other. The Food Security Hub here is an incredible example of Maine's food security ecosystem in action. Meeting our movement of rising hunger with innovation and collaboration to ensure everyone in Maine has access to nourishing food that they need to lead healthy, full lives. I mention meeting this moment because hunger in Maine is now at its highest level in nearly a decade. Today, more than 191,000 people, including 50,000 children and nearly 50,000 adults over 50, are unsure where their next meal is coming from. And hunger truly touches every corner of our communities in our state. It's the child trying to learn on an empty stomach. It's the older Mainer choosing between prescriptions and food, or a single parent working 2 jobs who still can't keep up with rising costs. And the situation is getting worse. Rising costs and reduction to critical federal supports like SNAP and Medicaid, along with changes to programs that Good Shepherd Food Bank and other statewide hunger relief agencies have relied on for decades, put immense pressure on our work. I mentioned it's a difficult week, and I'll speak lightly to the fact that we learned this week that SNAP benefits are not planned for November 1st in any state in the US if the government shutdown continues. That means 170,000 Mainers currently enrolled in SNAP will not receive this essential support that we've been relying on for decades, forcing many to turn to the local food pantries and partners like Preble Street and other partners that Good Shepherd Food Bank works with for help. When I visit our partners, I see how hard they're working to meet this moment. Many people tell me that people start lining up for hours before pantries open. Pantry directors are for the first time needing to make choices that are extremely difficult, such as limiting the number of days that people can visit them and limiting what geographic areas that people come from. These are choices people have never had to make in our state prior, and we don't ever want them to have to make them again. This is where innovation, like the ready-to-eat meals being prepared here at Preble Street's Food Security Hub, make all the difference. We're already running to keep up with growing need, and we can't meet it alone. That's why collaboration is so critical right now. There is not one organization who can end hunger in Maine, and together, we all can work together to do so. This Food Security Hub strengthens Maine's entire food security ecosystem and makes sure no one is left behind. I talk a lot about this food security ecosystem, and this is an example of where you see it in action. So, when you're here at the Preble Street Food Security Hub, you see programs like Mainers Feeding Mainers come to life. I had the personal experience of being here one day when the delivery of carrots came through. Mainers Feeding Mainers is a program where 95 farmers receive funding from a combination of the state and Good Shepherd Food Bank operating funds. And that fresh produce, 3.8 million pounds a year, is distributed to partner agencies. So that sounds good in a boardroom. When you see it in place at a partner agency and the delivery actually comes in and the people actually get to experience it, it brings joy, gratitude, perspective, and inspiration to keep going and keep doing work like this. And we can't do that type of work without our partners like Preble Street. So I want to talk a little bit about the history between Good Shepherd Food Bank and Preble Street. It's really important to us. Chip mentioned we have 600 partners from Fort Kent to Kittery. We love them all, and we're grateful for all of them. And This relationship and partnership is really special to us and really, really important to our work. We have worked side by side, these two organizations, for nearly 2 decades, sharing a joint commitment to ensuring every Mainer has access to nutritious food and is served with dignity. And I would say Preble Street is best in class in delivering that experience. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Over the years, our partnership has grown and evolved, from supporting meal programs to working together on new ways to strengthen Maine's food security network. Even something as simple as this building has a series of offices where multiple nonprofits that are focused on hunger relief can come and do our work, kind of doing, I think kids call that parallel play, but we can be working near each other, and then that causes us to say, hey, are you going to this meeting, and can you help me with this? Will you testify about this? And it's a great example of what seems like simple innovation, making a very big impact. When Preble Street envisioned a new way to expand access through prepared meals, we immediately recognized how transformational that could be. Ready-made meals fill a critical gap for older adults and people living with disabilities, people who are unhoused, and asylum seekers who do not have access to a kitchen. We were proud to provide funding to help bring that vision closer to reality, and it's a reflection of our belief in Preble Street's leadership, creativity, and deep, deep community roots, 50 years. I've had the privilege of visiting the hub several times. I talked about seeing the carrots, and I talked about seeing the office space. It's kind of my home away from home. We're in Auburn, and this location is a little bit closer to home, and I look forward to more time here and more great work together. It's very inspiring for me to watch the early days of construction to today, and it's been fun to visit and watch the progress along the way. This food security hub represents what's possible when we think about what's bigger, our bigger needs that we're addressing, and it's a model that we can use throughout the state of Maine to inspire others. So thank you for that, Mark. From farmers to distributors to pantries to the actual meal programs, together we're ensuring nutritious food reaches everyone who needs it. And the collaboration creates the opportunity to do something new. Make prepared, ready-to-eat meals available statewide for the first time. The hub also plays a I want to speak about the role, some of the unique roles. This was fun to put together, actually. The more we got thinking, the more we got applying. Like, oh, it does this and it does this. When you think about emergency response in our state, which we play a significant role in, having the space and capacity to safely store and distribute tens of thousands of prepared meals helps our entire state. And it gives us flexibility to respond quickly when there's disasters or disruptions. This week has also helped me think through, there are people who have never needed to rely on the Emergency Food Network, which is the pantries throughout the state of Maine, who are having to do so for the very first time. I met one of those individuals this Tuesday at one of our partner agencies. So when we have products like frozen meals, it gives us flexibility and nimbleness and agility to move those meals throughout the state. Preble Street rescues and repurposes donated food. It reduces waste and transforms local produce into healthy, ready-to-eat meals. I think we delivered 4 pallets of cilantro one day, so I'm sorry or you're welcome. Mark said, I guess we're having tacos today. And it ensures that no food goes unfed to a person. And I would say seeing that connection and envisioning the fresh produce making its way from farm to kitchen to the tables of neighbors is inspiring to me and our collective team. This food security hub is opening at a time when hunger in Maine is rising and federal resources are shrinking, making collaboration more important than ever. I spoke about the food security ecosystem. Every person in Maine has a place somewhere in the food security ecosystem, whether with Good Shepherd Food Bank, or a partner agency in the state, or if you're a donor, volunteer, government leader, you work for a different nonprofit, or you're just an ally to our work. We're asking people to find your spot in the food security ecosystem and play that role. Pantries are seeing new faces, and with the recent news of SNAP reductions and now potential eliminations, We are preparing for a time of unprecedented need in the state of Maine. More families turn to us, and we need to be there for them. The Food Security Hub adds critical capacity and flexibility to respond faster. We even wrote these notes before the news of this week, and this week brings extra light and spotlighting to that. We will make sure that food is available and accessible, and we will do whatever we can. This is a powerful reminder that while the need is great, our collective ability to meet it is greater. We are proud to remain a vital partner in this work. We will continue to supply ingredients, shared resources, and be partners and allies to the Food Security Hub. We believe this is an example of the best of what our community has to offer the people in Maine. I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Mark and his team. Similar to Chip and I have worked together for a long time, Mark and I have also worked together for a long time preceding this role. He's an inspiration to me in my role, and it's an honor to share this stage and be part of his opening. Speaking of honors, I also have the honor of introducing our next speaker, Congresswoman Chellie Pingree. And I just want to take a moment to say, we appreciate our leaders and partners at all times. We appreciate our leaders and partners in a very different and bigger way right now. As part of the Feeding America network of food banks throughout the nation, there are 199 food banks in our nation. There's no state that's figured out food security yet. Maine's going to be the one that does. And my peers are extremely envious of the partnerships, relationships, and leadership that we have in Maine. I do not take that for granted for one moment. So when I say it's an honor to share the stage with you, it's an honor to share the stage with you, Congresswoman Pingree. Thank you for all you do for us. You've always been there for us, and we can count on you when things are hard. And my job's really hard right now. I can't imagine what your job is. Thank you for always fighting for us.
Well, thank you very much, Heather. Thank you for those kind words, but more importantly, thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for laying this out so clearly about the important work that our food pantries do. And you're just a real gift to me, and everything that Good Shepherd does and the coordination that you do is really critically important. Chip, thank you for chairing the board. Thank you to everyone here who is a board member and who has put in so many hours for this. Thank you to your incredible staff, Mark, that are all doing such great work in so many areas, to all the donors and volunteers. I just feel like I'm in a room full of really cool, good people. So thank you, cool, good people. I can't begin to talk about you all, but I just want to talk about a couple of different things this morning. First, besides thanking all of you and the amazing ecosystem, as Heather described it, that brings all of this together. Thank you, Mark, for creating that over the years. I, too, have had the benefit of working with you, getting to know you, and just seeing the amazing creative things that come out of this organization. I think I first worked in a soup kitchen once, several years ago when it was a soup kitchen down on Preble Street, and it was an incredible experience that day, and thinking about how far you've come since then and the level of creativity and interest. I can't wait to go for a tour. I've been in here a little bit before, but not since everything opened up. But I do think there are some things about this that are truly unique, and we should appreciate, are such an amazing part of being a part of Maine. I learned a couple of things, and I'll tell you about both of them, when I first started working in public policy and elected life. One was around how feeding worked, Feeding America, all these big enterprises, and these networks to help feed hungry people. I first started to understand that in the old days, when I got there, a lot about it was just about calories in, calories out. We need to just get calories to people. We need to get them a lot of food. And sometimes that meant, cases full of soda or lots of pasta or just whatever it took to keep people filled up and hungry. And one of the amazing things that's really shifted, and Good Shepherd has done some amazing work around this, and Preble Street too, and we're really going to see that personified today. But that's the idea that everyone deserves to eat healthy, nutritious food. And that really makes a huge difference when we talk about kids getting a good start in their day, or seniors getting enough nutrition to stay healthy, or people coming home from a hospitalization or illness. We now think about food as medicine. And it's a big part of the policy work that we do. Food is medicine. How do you make sure that the food that you eat is contributing to your good health? But it took a long time for, I think, in some ways, the donation side of it and even the SNAP benefit side, all these things to catch up and say, wait a minute, how do we get everyone healthier food? And this really is embodying that. When you heard Heather talk about the truckloads of carrots coming in, or the partnership with farmers, and I saw Penny back there, and I know there are other farmers in the room, so thank you farmers and fishermen who have been a part of it. But that has been a really important partnership, and this is one of those places that embodies that. If you have the way to process food, you can deal with a lot more fresh and healthy food. You can accept more different kinds of donations, and whether it's at the Good Shepherd level or here, and the things that they're going to be able to do with packaging it right into a meal, getting it in a freezer, processing those things that you maybe used to have to say, well, I can't really store that, or if we can't give it away in a day, if we can't keep it in a case or in a back room, there's no opportunities there. And I've seen a huge shift. We literally had policy fights about this when I first got to Congress. And now we have programs like GusNIP that say, oh, if you get SNAP benefits, you can double your benefit at a farmer's market with your SNAP benefit card. Those things are just great. And we've had an opportunity to make sure all of our colleagues on both sides of the aisle understand that. So for me, that's critically important. And this is one of those places, one of the reasons we are the envy of a lot of other states is because we've had hardworking people thinking about, well, how do you go about doing that? How do you build those partnerships? How do you raise that kind of money? And how do you have those facilities to process it? So for me, this is an extremely exciting day because it really puts into work those things that I've been working on in public policy, whether it's from the agriculture side or the nutrition side, and here you are all doing it today. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is the very big challenges that we're facing. And yeah, I mean, Heather, what a bad week. I mean, come on, people. It doesn't get, I mean, of course it gets worse than this. It seems to get worse every week. But it is a hard time. And many of the cuts that have already been impacting food pantries and SNAP benefits are only sounding worse when we hear about these cuts in November. But I want to go back a little bit and talk about some of the other things that are already challenging us. So while places like Preble Street and Good Shepherd are really important, my understanding is that SNAP benefits and the federal government supplies so much aid to people that it's about a 9-to-1 ratio of what you can really get. It takes 9 meals from here to equal 1 meal with your SNAP benefits. So it helps you to start to understand the fundamental importance of the work we do at a federal level to make sure that people stay fed. About 174,000 Mainers benefit from SNAP. 36,000 of those are children. 6,300 are veterans. About a third of Maine households use SNAP to feed children. And it's also a big impact on our farmers markets. We sell a lot at farm stands and farmers markets. We have a lot of farmers themselves who accept SNAP benefits, and about 1,500 retailers in Maine are also involved in the whole enterprise of making sure everybody can get those benefits. But as you may know, we've already made cuts to this program. The bill that was called the Big Ugly Bill by some, the Big Beautiful Bill by others, I'm sticking with the ugly thing, has already impacted future SNAP benefits. But as of July 4th, we've changed the eligibility and taken a lot of people out of the program. I met someone coming in who used to work for SNAP Ed. We've completely eliminated that program as of October 1st. Which is tragic. So SNAP education, the very idea that if you're going to get a box of food, you've got a better idea of how to deal with it. Many people grow up in a household where cooking wasn't part of their mother's or grandmother's generation, or they're just too busy and they need a lot of solutions. So we've lost that now. And as of next year, we're going to have more cuts that are coming in and impacting SNAP. So we are already seeing a reduction of this. And that leads me to the other thing that I learned in public policy, and it really shocked me, I think, when I first started thinking about it. But we're the wealthiest nation in the world, and we politically fight about whether or not people deserve food all the time. It's beyond me. I mean, it should never be a question. There are things we should question in public policy about whether or not the government should supply or not, but making sure that everybody has access to fresh and healthy food it should be a moral imperative, and it also should be an economic imperative. We have learned that kids learn better on healthy food. We have learned that seniors stay healthier. We know all these things, and we just know we have a better nation if everybody gets the food that they want. But the number one fight in every farm bill every 5 years is about whether or not we'll fund the nutrition benefits, which is about 85% of the farm bill. So it's a significant part of what we invest every year, but we always nickel and dime it, and we always cut it back. And we have already made a decision now to cut it back. And so as you know, we're in a government shutdown. We can debate that till the cows come home, and this isn't a political rally, and it's a complicated time. Lots of things are going on, and lots of cuts have been made, and there's lots of frustration going on. But the announcement that SNAP benefits would be cut is unconscionable, in my opinion, and I just want to be 100% clear. We are not cutting SNAP because we are shut down. We are cutting SNAP because the administration had decided not to spend the reserves at the USDA in November and to deny people their benefits. So we have the money. We don't have to do any fancy, complicated thing that we can't do during a shutdown. There's $5 billion there in reserves. In case you haven't heard, we had $20 billion to give to Argentina, and we're building a new ballroom on the White House. So we seem to have plenty of money these days. We just have decided not to do that. And that's one of the cruelest things I've ever witnessed happening, because as you heard, there are people who are already getting close to the end of the month and saying, but I've only got $30 left, but what am I gonna do? And to put the fear in people while there's a political debate going on in Washington. Again, that's not a topic for today, but I just wanna be clear, it is going on right now, and we've got the money to do it. We can absolutely fund SNAP benefits. And on top of these other blows that people are already experiencing, rising cost of healthcare, rising cost of housing, generally the rising cost of food, we've already heard that the need is high and as high as it's ever been. So this is not the right time to be talking to people about cutting their food benefits, and not the right time to be doing it. All that said, we're lucky that we have amazing partners. If this comes to being, I know every partner will work hard to make sure that every hungry person in Maine continues to get food, but it is a catastrophic problem if you don't have SNAP benefits. There isn't really enough food in the food pantries right now. And by the way, we've already cut them a little bit. One of the local farmer programs that helped to support them and helped to support many of our farmers was already cut earlier this year. What's that?
March.
Yeah, in March. So it's been a while. They've already been dealing with less funding, and other people are already dealing with less funding in their lives that are trying to figure out how to balance those checkbooks. So that's enough of my political rant, but because it's that week, and really because you can't talk about feeding people without SNAP, and it's always important for people to understand that as wonderful as all of our food pantries and food assistance is, it could never make up the gap for what it costs to get food on the table for someone else. So I'm going to leave it there and just say I am honored to be here. As I said, I'm just always in awe of Mark Swann and the work that everyone does here at Preble Street. I'm really excited about this facility and looking forward to it. And I'm just proud to go back to my colleagues and say, once again, Maine is the coolest state in the nation. We have the best cooperation between our farmers and our retailers and everyone else who helps make this happen. And we have the most creative people using their very best ideas to make sure that no one goes hungry in our state. So thank you for all that.
Thank you, Chellie. We are really grateful to have such a strong supporter of Preble Street and you, and that you're such a strong advocate for Maine. So thank you. Now I'd like to welcome Mark Swann. So Mark has been Executive Director of Preble Street since 1991, a few years. In that time, he's overseen significant growth and expansion of the agency and its mission, from a small soup kitchen with 2 employees in the basement of an old church to a multi-site, comprehensive social service agency serving the most vulnerable people of Maine. Mark's leadership at Preble Street has always been guided by the agency's mission. That mission is to provide accessible, barrier-free services to empower people experiencing problems with homelessness, housing, hunger, and poverty, and to advocate for solutions to those problems. We are incredibly lucky to have someone of Mark's caliber leading this organization. Please welcome Mark Swann.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, Chip and Heather and Chellie. This is a really big day for Preble Street, so to have you here as part of it really means a lot. I'm going to start just kind of echoing something I said at the Preble Street 50th anniversary party earlier this year, which is just how cool it is and how very grateful I am to be in a room full of people like all of you who believe that every human being deserves dignity, food,
Talk louder.
and a mic that's
Back to where it was
closer
when
to
Chip
the mouth.
was talking. I'm gonna tell him that, my dad.
Well, you all believe, like I do, that every human being deserves dignity, shelter, food, and justice. And the thing that is so striking to me, I'm surrounded by mics here, and more than just believe, you've all stepped up in one way or another to make this building happen. This amazing food security hub is possible because all of you. One of my favorite quotes is from Cicero, a Roman senator. He was around even before me. And he wrote, "I criticize by what I create." I've always really loved that. To me, that's a pretty clear call to action. It's a pretty clear call out to do more than just talk, a pretty clear directive to build on your values, and it's not just enough to state them. We have a responsibility to live them. So I want you all to know really how very, very grateful we are that you don't only believe in justice, but you've done something really substantial here in delivering justice. This is an amazing place. And there are too many people and organizations for me to thank everybody. We have a donor wall, I think, around the corner from Craig that lists a lot of the people who stepped up and helped us. It's just so great. We live in a state that people want to make sure their neighbors are not hungry. But I am going to call out a few people that went above and beyond. First, I'll start with our elected officials. And I think to a person, they recognize that this food security hub was not just a great thing to do now, but it has a vision. It's got a 20, 30 year life ahead of it to do more. It's really a long-term solution. You just heard from Congresswoman Pingree, who along with Senators King and Collins and Representative Golden helped Preble Street secure a critical $1 million grant and community project federal funding. So thank you for that, Chellie. We also received tremendous support for the Food Security Hub at the state and local level as well. Legislators, some of whom are here, I think, Rachel Talbot Ross, Mo Terry, Peggy Rotundo, Melanie Sachs, Drew Gatine, and many, many others who really understand the devastating impact of hunger in our communities. And alongside these legislators, Governor Mills provided funding to help create this world-class facility. She could not make it here today, unfortunately, but a couple of her staff are here, I think, and I want to call them out, our former staff who really stepped up and helped with advice and support along the way. I'm not sure if Greg Payne is here, but Greg was fantastic. Hannah Pingree as well. Hannah, when Hannah was in the governor's office, was a great ally and helped to secure the state funding. We also want to thank people at the local level. You know, this was an incredible effort. We got federal funding, state funding, county funding, 2 municipality fundings, and we raised a ton of private funding as well. It was a long, long haul. At the local levels, we had leaders of the city of South Portland and the city of Portland who stepped up and helped us. Thank you. And I want to call out Cumberland County as well. Cumberland County did a lot to help make this happen. So thank you all for our local. And then, at the risk of leaving somebody out, I will say there were 3 really critical supporters of this early on, long before we got government funding. And without them, this would not have happened. And that's the JTG Foundation, the Hannaford Charitable Foundation, and Good Shepherd Food Bank. So thank you. So here we are. When I started at Preble Street, here's the old guy story, right? In 1991, if we served 125 meals in one day, that was a busy day. That was a lot of people in one day for us. Now we're doing close to 2,000 meals a day. The need has grown, and we have changed the way we try to meet that need. 5 years ago, we had 3 crowded soup kitchens and a food pantry. When the pandemic hit, with clear guidance and direction from infectious disease specialists, we had to make the difficult decision to shift our anti-hunger efforts from a soup kitchen model to a food production model. And rather than encouraging hundreds and hundreds of people to congregate in crowded dining rooms, we shifted to providing prepared meals for people to eat where they're at emergency shelters, at sober living homes, at the YMCA, or on the streets for those who are unsheltered. We didn't know how long that model would last, but overnight, without missing a beat, we revamped the whole soup kitchen and all of our operations. At that time, we were doing about 900 meals a day. As you all know, COVID stuck around. Months went by, and in that time, we got better and better in this new production model. The quality of our meals improved, we became more efficient, and we're better able to integrate local and fresh produce in our meals. We also, at that time, had other agencies approach us, agencies who serve low-income people, and ask, gee, you're a production kitchen, can you do meals for us? Can you deliver meals for us? Boys and Girls Club, for instance, asked us to do meals for them, which we did and still do all these years later. We started to do more of that with other providers and other agencies. Hotel shelters opened because of COVID, and we did meals for hotel shelters. Quarantine shelters were created, and we cooked meals for them. So as all this was happening, we started to think about, what's the future here? Are we ever going to go back to this soup kitchen model where hundreds of people are crowded into small dining rooms? Is that the best way to meet people's needs in an uncertain world? Is it safe? Is there a better way to do our work, meet our mission, and get nutritious meals to people who are hungry? At that same time, as you also all know, the homelessness crisis was exploding. And we found ourselves looking at one of our buildings, the old resource center and soup kitchen, and we thought, what's the highest and best use of this real estate, this building? We own the building. Critically, it's zoned to be a shelter, and the community desperately needs a shelter. So we kind of had parallel decisions to make, and we landed on turning that old soup kitchen into a new shelter, Elena's Way, which opened 3 years ago this month. And at the same time, because you really better be able to do more than one thing at a time if you're doing anti-poverty work these days, we started looking for a new home for a production kitchen. And I'm gonna, if you'll indulge me for a second, I do want to pause and just note that at that exact time, Preble Street had just completed our biggest capital campaign ever, our biggest fundraising effort ever. And with the funds we raised, we built and opened a new healing center for survivors of human trafficking. We raised the funds to upgrade and consolidate our teen center and teen shelter into one building. We built a new emergency fund, which we desperately needed during COVID. And we ended up turning the resource center into Elena's Way, as I mentioned. It was a big accomplishment. We had a big party at a board meeting. We celebrated, felt great. And then the very next month, the board voted to buy this building. The very next month. And with this building, we took on another very significant fundraising burden and financial risk. All in, this building is about $12 million to buy, renovate, and equip with the state-of-the-art equipment. It's about $12 million. And we didn't have a plan. I have never been more proud of the board of directors of Preble Street than when they made that decision. It was bold, and it was visionary, and it was the right thing to do. The kind of decision that real leaders make. Thank you for that. If you're a board member, put your hand up. There's a bunch of board members here. We have the best board of directors in Maine. It was at that time that I had a critically important conversation with Kristen Maley, the CEO of Good Shepherd Food Bank at that time, Heather's predecessor. And she shared with me some research and the needs analysis that Good Shepherd had done that identified, as Heather just was talking about, prepared meals as an enormous unmet need in our state. Not pantry boxes, traditional pantry boxes of groceries, but prepared meals that could be delivered and made available through the pantry network of Good Shepherd Food Bank. So that made us think big, really big, 30,000 square feet big. We stopped looking for a small soup kitchen that could kind of accommodate Preble Street's need. We could do the meals in a much smaller facility for our shelters and our programs. But instead, after talking to Good Shepherd and thinking about it and talking to people who do similar work around the country, we developed this vision that we're showing off today. This place is amazing. And I say that even though I'm wicked biased. If you have not had a tour yet, you've got to check this place out. It's not just about these amazing speeches you're hearing. This place is incredible. We now have the capacity to produce 10,000 meals a day here. Wow. and store 50,000 frozen. This place is a real game changer. It really is a real game changer for ending hunger. There's a lot of good work happening here already, and more good work will happen. We have 2 professionally trained chefs on staff and restaurant quality operations in place, and we have the capacity and flexibility to respond to whatever the emerging or emergency needs are. Different populations, new organizations to partner with, changing demographics in Maine, natural disasters, and economic downturns. We will be ready for years and decades to come. In the kitchen, we've invested in equipment that allows our trained staff and volunteers to prep and cook food at volumes that were impossible in the old soup kitchens. We can now easily make hundreds of gallons of chicken stock for a soup, or cook pallets and pallets of donated summer tomatoes into sauces and salsas. Using blanchers, blast chillers, and dehydrators, we're able to preserve produce during the short growing season in Maine that otherwise would have gone to waste, while also increasing access to nutritious fruits and vegetables all year round. On the tours you're going to have, you'll see this 2,500 square foot freezer. It's my favorite part of this whole place. It's unbelievable. We can store those 50,000 frozen meals there. The chefs have been hard at work over the last few months doing research and development to determine which frozen meals will taste the best, which will travel the best, which will reheat the best. I'm happy to share that starting next month, which is a week away, we will begin sending our first frozen meals up to Tedford Shelter in Brunswick for their warming shelter. I also want to point out, because I've been around a long time, and it's just so wonderful that we'll have these frozen meals available to respond to the next disaster, the next natural disaster or emergency. For decades, For decades, we have fed people impacted by emergencies and done the best we can out of our small soup kitchens. The ice storm of 1998, the pandemic, of course. Even a few years ago, Franklin Towers lost electricity for several weeks, and we provided meals there until the electricity came back. Having these frozen meals on hand, 50,000 of them, will be critical to Maine's emergency preparedness plans. If there's an emergency or a natural disaster, those meals could help feed your families. Sustainability has also been a priority as we've designed this space. We have an off-site solar panel array to offset a substantial portion of our energy needs, including LED lighting and efficient appliances, including an energy recovery dishwasher and the dehydrator I mentioned that will extend the life of food and reduce waste and uses up to 60% less energy. This place is just amazing. I keep saying that. When I come here, I'm just inspired. And thank God it's ready for business right now. As you just heard from Heather and Chellie, the timing for the opening of this could not be better, I guess. That's one way to put it. With federal cuts to emergency food assistance and health care, chipping away at the safety nets, hammering away at the safety nets that have kept so many people in our community fed and housed and safe and healthy, we're going to collectively need to continue to ramp up all of our efforts to keep people safe and to continue to ensure justice for all. I can assure you Preble Street is going to work relentlessly to feed people in Maine, and it's clear we're going to need all of you to join us in this work. Today you'll have a bunch of opportunities to connect with our work. At 11:30, if you're interested, we'll be hosting a press conference right outside the door here to advocate for the White House to immediately release SNAP contingency funds. It is entirely unacceptable for children, seniors, and families to go hungry, or for Mainers to be asked to choose between food and rent and heat and healthcare. It's not just unacceptable, it's un-American, honestly. And all of you are welcome to stay to join us at that press conference. Full Plates, Full Potential will be here. I think another organization or two will be joining us. So please feel free to join for that. In the meantime, from now till 1 o'clock today, we invite you all to join us down the hall that way, past the kitchen. You got to check out the kitchen. Don't miss the freezer. But down that way, we've got a bunch of food for you to try and to taste. It's the same food we put out every day to people who are unsheltered and in shelters and in other programs. It's delicious. I would encourage you to try it. You can mingle as well, and also meet for tours. Preble Street staff are spread around. We all have lanyards, and we're all happy to take you on a tour. So thank you again, everybody, for being here today, for being part of ending hunger in Maine, and for standing with us. Really, really.